Now this evening we look at the prevalence of male cancers in South Africa. The Daredevil Run Not a Race encourages men of all ages, shapes and sizes to run 5 kilometers through peak hour traffic in an effort to drive awareness of the scourge of male cancers in South Africa. To tell us more about this is Warwick Bloom, who is a marketing and communications manager at Hollard. He's furthest to my right in the purple t-shirt, and Craig Smith is a prostate cancer survivor. Thank you to you both for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Let's first start with the campaign. How did Hollard get involved with this?
Right, so this is a run that's been run for 9 years now, 8 years, this is the 9th run, and it was really quite easy for us to get involved because it raises awareness of male cancers, but it does it in a really fun way. You know, it's an incredibly serious topic, and the sight of men running in speedos through rush hour traffic, as well as causing a stir, also causes smiling faces, but the message behind it is deadly serious, and that's really what appealed to us about the run. Is it does something that's designed to bring something that's hidden alive through so many conversations, but it does it in a way that's not intimidating. Just
in the 9 years that it's been running, has there been an impressionable amount of increase in the number of people who get tested, or who at least are aware of male cancers?
So we like to think that the publicity around the event has done just that. We have seen statistics to suggest that certainly male cancers, prostate cancer in particular, is on the increase, which makes testing much more important. And we believe that by driving the conversation, getting men to talk about these things and getting men to get tested before the age of 40 for prostate cancer, or by the age of 40 and thereafter every year for prostate cancer, we can make a big difference. Part of the proceeds of the run have also gone into something called the Man Van, which is something run by the Cancer Association of South Africa. And that goes into rural areas and educates men who wouldn't otherwise have access to primary health care, gives them access to testing and to information on
Craig, I'll
diseases.
get to you in just a moment, but I just want to get into the name, Daredevil Race. I suppose it has to do with the speedos, but just going the extra mile and also raising awareness. How far do people go beyond the speedos? So
it's a 5 kilometer run, and it's, as you said, it's a run, not a race, and it's all shapes and sizes. And it's really something that gives men an opportunity to demonstrate solidarity, either with someone they know who's suffering from cancer or just with the cause in general. So we've had daredevils jumping off cliffs, parasailing down from cliffs. We've had them running through the streets, skiing. We've had them running through the streets in foreign cities. So people do tend to go a little bit further than just the 5 kilometer race that we do here.
Okay, Craig Smith, as I mentioned, is a cancer survivor. So Craig, do you want to tell us about your journey first?
Well, my journey happened by accident. It's tomorrow a year ago. One of my friends passed away, and I decided to go for a medical, not knowing or thinking that anything's wrong, just out of concern. Went for a medical, came back, got a phone call a couple of days later from my GP. He said to me, your PSA levels are through the roof. You need to go and see a specialist. I then went for a whole bunch of tests, scans, MRI and so on. And I then went for a surgical procedure with biopsies and whatnot, and it came back that it was cancer. You know, and from there you go into your treatment. And
what was your first reaction, though, just hearing the words cancer? Did it jolt you?
Absolute fear. You go into this fit of depression almost, because you don't know how bad it is. You don't know, are you going to survive this? Is it at a point where, you know, are you going to die, literally?
Am I allowed to ask what sort of cancer it was?
It's prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer, okay. Yeah. And let me come back to your work on that. We hear that, just in terms of data, a lot of South African men suffer from prostate cancer, but what other cancers are there that they should be aware of, that we as a community should be aware of?
Right. So prostate cancer is currently the #1 cause of death in South African men from a cancer perspective. And the current estimates suggest that something between 1 in 6 and 1 in 8 to 9 men are likely to contract prostate cancer in their lifetime. Now, that's a terrifying statistic. So prostate cancer being the main one. There's also colorectal cancer. which claims many victims. And then there's testicular cancer, which affects men as young as the age of 15. So testicular cancer is actually the #1 form of cancer in men aged 15 to 39. As you get older, so the other cancers become prevalent. But those are the sorts of cancers that we're talking about.
Were you aware of any of these?
I didn't even know what PSA stood for a year ago. So no is the answer.
And your friends?
Probably not. It's something that we're trying to get out into the public space, and we're trying to make people aware of the fact that this is a real problem, you know, and men seem to shy away from this a little bit. And I think what's important is you spoke about the Daredevil run and the speedos. I find a message that we send with the speedos is to become comfortable with your own body as a male, and you know, to run down Jan Smuts in peak hour traffic. Is something.
It takes quite a daredevil to do that.
Yes.
So I'd imagine that also it's about being comfortable in knowing your body. How did that change your mindset once you knew what was going on with your body and that it can be actually dealt with, it can be treated?
Grateful is one word that comes to mind, but I think it changed my outlook from a perspective of, we're sitting here today chatting to you, spreading the word, and it's become quite a passion of mine to be able to go into studios, radio, do the run itself, and make people aware of this problem, and make young guys in testicular cancer specifically aware of that can affect him from a very young age. And guys in my age group, you know, just go and get tested. And I think the message we're trying to put across is early testing. It's that simple. You know, no one's immune to this, unfortunately. Go and get yourself tested. And from a personal perspective, the more people I can touch by telling them my story and by telling them to go and get tested, the better.
I'd just like to pick up on something that Craig said there that I think is so important. It's about early detection saving lives. If you catch these cancers early enough, they can be treated. And that's really part of the message that we're trying to drive is, if you understand your body from a testicular cancer perspective, you can monitor any changes in that area of your body, and you can be aware that you need to go and get tested. And from the age of 40, you should be talking to your GP about getting tested for prostate cancer. Because if you catch it early, it can be.
Just from a PSA perspective, what are the warning signs that men should look out for? Which should we get paid
No, there aren't any in early stages. That's what's so frightening about it. As the disease progresses, yes, there's blood in the urine, and there's discomfort and difficulty in passing urine and things like that. But in the early stages, there are no warning signals, and that's a problem.
What are men saying about why they're either too shy or reluctant to get testing? Surely within the past 9 years, that information must have come through on what's holding them back.
So we found that the particular diagnostic test for prostate cancer has scared a lot of men. However, it starts with a blood test, and that's the message we want to drive, is that actually you can just have a blood test done that can pick up levels of, as Craig put it, the PSA, your prostate-specific antigen. It monitors those levels. If they're elevated, then you go for potentially more invasive tests. But that's where it starts. It starts with a blood test.
Okay. Just a quick 5 seconds, Craig. Where must men go with their best kit to join the race?
They should join us on the 15th at 3 p.m. at Zoo Lake, and we'll run up to the Hollard building, and we'll run back down to Zoo Lake. Like we said, it's not a race. It's to create awareness and stop traffic in peak hour traffic. And yes, please join us on the 15th at 3 p.m.
Thank you to you both. That there is Warwick Bloom, Hollard Marketing Communications Manager, and Craig Smith,